In this one, I'm going to show you how to use two light source. The first one's being the blue light, which is a regular night moonlight or something. Should put the moon there now that I think about it. And another source would be like this sparkling from fire that's going on the side. You don't know what's happening. So this is basically a character tutorial. The composition kind of there, not really. It's a little bit in the middle, but regardless of that, it's just a two light source. The green one is not really a light source. It's sort of a magical, metal ball that she's swinging, and then her magical green eyes. So I hope you guys like it, and well, let's get started. So in this one, I have a background to be really dark blue because I plan to have it be a night scene, so you could have a little bit more. So the second light source that I'm gonna have can have a stronger effect on the character. So if it's on the daylight, you probably wouldn't have the second light source. Probably is not strong enough to give enough dramatic effect. And this one I start off as a speed painting, which I plan to have like some kind of scout warrior with the chain and chain weapon with the ball at the end of the chain. And then I make another layer which is use 100% opacity and sort of almost black, like 3% darkness. And if you watch my video, and this one's just a torso and head, if you watch a lot of my lesson premium or taking class with me before, you know that in the beginning of the painting, don't use anything below 10% of darkness, or don't use anything above unless it's an extreme or there's a reason to. So sometime when you paint in a really dark background, you tend to, you're going to have to use a darker value for the dark background. So that's the good reason to use a really dark or black to bring the dramatic effect out of it. Otherwise, you couldn't see silhouette. So I make another layer that make a pelvis and the legs, and then I make another layer in the middle. And now I'm gonna put the chain on its own layer. And the reason I put this thing on its own layer so that I can go back and make a selection, and then I can just paint or use texture brush to glaze over, and I will all of a sudden I'll get the texture onto the chain or onto a certain part of the body that I want without having it going over. Outside the line, so I don't have to worry about painting over the line. Now I'm thinking like spawn kind of thing, but then I was like, no, that's kind of lame. So I decided not to have too many chains. Just the weapon's good enough. Then I'm using a lasso tool, a circular shape. Then that's on another layer of its own, different from the chain layer to have a chain. And then try to resize this. And then I was like, this might be too big. If it's too big, then you probably wouldn't be able to throw them really well. So I resize it and make it a lot smaller. So I go back, then resize that to be smaller, because this can be a throw weapon, right? So you swing it around and trying to hit your enemy with it. So it should be kind of a little bit smaller. And this one I'm gonna make it a little bigger since it's coming toward the foreground. So it's kind of like arranging to give it a sense of depth, from like the smaller one being in the back and then coming forward and then bigger. And again, so when you have a different layer on those leg and pelvis, another advantage is like you can turn it off and you can see what's in front of you, even though you use the same value to making those silhouette. And at this point, I'm concerning about the silhouette and the shape and the pose, what I want from it, and that's all. Then I'm going to make some sort of a design, maybe a spike on the shoulder, because it's easy. And it's going to be quick because I was planning to be like a speed painting. I wasn't planning to make a tutorial out of it, but then it turned out to be like, yeah, this could be some good example on the two light source. So I think you guys might like it. And then I'm kind of starting to add. So at this, when I'm making the face, that might be nothing related to tutorial at all, except to getting the light and to use that light source again when I make a new face. So now, let's see. I'm gonna give the background some second light source, or this could be like, I'm thinking a complementary color scheme. So it's like a blue and orange So I think that's complementary, because purple, yellow, blue, orange. Yeah, so the orange would be complementary to the blue. So that would give it a really nice balance and dramatic effect. And then I'm using a texture brush that mimics sort of a cloud and smoke and particles. And I'm using lineage dodge 30% to kind of get part of it. Like when you paint over on top of the existing paint, then you get a lighter effect. And now I kind of want it lighter on some part, and just to glaze over with I want it to spread out, so I glaze over with soft brush, round default. And then I make another, gonna use color dodge now, and now I'm just using texture brush that sort of like dust and particle, sparkle or speckle or something, to kind of, you know, having some a little bit big particle around this smoke of the red smoke. Okay, I think that's good enough. Then I'm going to use dodge and dodge some of them out, just a little bit, some of the particles, so some of the part of the particle, so that it have like some, it's giving you some depth, and some of them are fading out, and some of them are more sparse, some of them less sparse. So it's keep a variation, so they're not having the same value and the same color on all of them. So it's give it a variety, even though it's in the same family value. Now I'm gonna trying to get the main light source out, which is painting on top of another layer, which is the cloud or the orange smoke have its own layer, and now the layer behind it I'm painting a lighter value of the blue, so I can get the light source from the other side, like from the top right, top left of the screen. And it's getting a little bit too blue, but that's okay. And then I was thinking, well, this is a little bit too abstract in the background, so I'm thinking I'm gonna add some shape. So I'm making another layer on top, and maybe making some like broken castle or broken construction, you know, structure that are broken in the background. So just to give it some interesting thing to look at in the background, rather than just saw brush everywhere. So now you have something to look at, and all these lines will lead to the character, so which will make it an interesting composition in a way. All right, so so now we have a little bit of the structure. So he might be in some sort of a, I don't know, sort of a background building, fighting some demons down there. This guy is probably the demon itself, but so I'm gonna make another. Let's see what I'm gonna go from here. So that's the layer for the spike. I'm gonna make another layer on top. I'm gonna start adding some light onto this character. So I make a selection on the torso and the head, and use texture brush about 50% and lighter blue. Just gonna give it some light. So the blue will be a little bit more dominate, but it's a little bit more subdued because the light is not that strong. So you're gonna have this light source will give it a more form, but not a lot of contrast. So you can see a subtle form, you know, really subtle form using this color and value. Then the stronger light source would probably be the red light or the underlighting. It's not the underlighting, but the second light source that will give it a stronger, because it's light. It's giving it a stronger light, and it will give the character more contrast, even though it's in a lot less area. But the blue will cover the most of the area of the character, but it will be a lot more subdued. So I hope that makes sense. So now I'm giving it a little bit more, you know, light texture. At this point, I haven't thought of anything about the character yet. I'm just thinking, well, that shape of the head could be a skull. Then I'm just going to use lineage dodge and dodging some part of the armor. Some of it will be metal, and some of it will be hard surface, like on the skull. And on the spike on the skull, we'll probably have those really highlight from there. So I'm just kind of starting from there a little. And I'm kind of trying to get the right now I'm kind of thinking like what kind of form I'm going to give, because I didn't think of the skull before. And then later on it's like, skull will be easy and finish it really quick. And then some part of it will be like a metal plate. At this point, my lighting is still not quite there. It's I'm still kind of confused of what to get in there. So I'm struggling basically. I'm trying to get the form. But once I get the first solid form that turn out look okay, then after that you'll be flying, and I can use the underlighting to help it. So as you can see, I move the lighter value into the middle a lot, and then have a lot of stronger light around the edge or closer to the edge. And then I use the darker value to create the hollow space on the eye socket. Then trying to make this shape. I'm trying to paint, but I think I still have a selection on. So sometimes I forgot I have a selection on because I always hide it. And then trying to make the nose bridge over there. And the hollow point on the nose. So, and now it doesn't really look like skull. It looked like well, if you ever seen those Rocketeer dude masks, that kind of look like that. So kind of failing a little bit here, still struggling. I just woke up, so but then it's take a while for the engine to kind of start and warm up, and then after a while you'll be okay. But not every single one I do it's gonna be a successful one. It might be okay, but sometimes you have to, like, I would make a lot of speed painting, like I said, but once in a while I'll get the one that's like, okay, this one is have enough potential, and then I'll move on. So it's kind of like when I'm doing speed painting, it's kind of like making a comp. And if my comp's working, then I was like, well, it has potential, then maybe just spend an hour on it. Because half an hour is not a long time. Half an hour you can, spend muddle with things, and you're like, and then you throw it away. But you have to have a kind of like a good idea or not good idea. Sometimes bad idea, good execution can make it look good. And then you kind of change it a little bit in the end. But most of the time you're going to have to like focus on light and play around. In this one, I'm just trying to play around with the lighting, basically, with the warm and the cool, and with the complementary scheme. Now I'm going to give it some chain inside its body, but it's on a separate layer. So I could, like, if I decided I don't want this chain, then I'll be like, which in the end I don't have this chain. So basically this one, from the beginning to the end, if I skip this silly design that I have in the beginning, which I don't know what I'm doing, and I do have the idea of the lighting, but this design I still kind of going around like trying to experimenting. So if we skip this step, this video or this from the beginning to the end, it's probably be shorter than an hour. But believe it or not, a lot of time you spend a lot of time experimenting with things, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if the lighting is good, then you could take it and make it something pretty a little bit better. So now I'm trying to make like a scale mail on the arm that have like some light, and on the spike it's easy. You just add some light on one side and light on the other side. That should be a lot easier than the rest of them. So now I'm going back to the skull and trying to fix the shape of the skull a little bit more. Adding some light on the side a little bit more, trying to get the form but not overly painting it. So when you are doing this, you have to kind of watch out for the value. And most of the time I'll look at the navigator, or I'll zoom out. Zoom out, it's kind of clear your head. It's kind of making you focus on if the lighting is right. If you look at the navigator on the bottom left hand, you see that the lighting is working. So it looks realistic enough with just that lighting alone. So I kind of keep moving with that. So just on that shoulder. Then I'm selecting, this is going to be hard part. I'm selecting the chain. And I make another layer on top, and I'm using a texture brush. And I'm just lighter value and just gonna paint that in, but it doesn't really work out that well because it make it a lot lighter. So I end up having to paint. I now have to like make a selection and just paint on the edge of the chain to make it look like the light just barely touch it, because I don't want to make it too light Yeah, otherwise you wouldn't feel the form because these chains are really small and it's from the brush. So I'm just selecting it and select some part of the edge just to kind of a hint of there's like some light hidden there, but not a lot. I probably could have done a good job at it if I zoom in and doing a little bit of chain here and there, but I'm just kind of like, well, I'm just gonna get the line just on the edge, and it worked. Most of the time, if I zoom in, I'll probably spend way more time doing this. So I stay at this level and I'll see how the things are working out. And on the chain, I'll focus on like most of them are thin line, and on some part I'll have a thicker line of light in there so that it looks like, you know, some of them get more light and some of them get a little less. Yeah, just, you know, experiment with it and paint the shape, but knowing how the light would react to the shape and how the light would react to the form is probably the most valuable thing. But sometimes you can understand it on the intellectual level, but like, okay, like, but if you don't do it a lot, then you probably don't really know it truly, like how it's going to be. You can kind of like, oh, light hits here, it's going to be that. But then on the practical level, it's going to take a little bit of more finesse on your Wacom or on your pressure sensitivity on where to exactly put how and how much. So that's why you need a lot of practice, and that's why you need tutorial from other people. And I still get, you know, buy tutorial from people who are like better than I am, and, you know, going to workshop and all that. And now I'm going to the ball part. I make a selection on the ball. The ball is probably, it's easier. I just do one side of the ball and give it a little more, it's a little lighter value. And then now I'm just going to put the highlight, a little bit of light coming in. And if you see, the highlight is going to be inside the ball, like I hit right there. And it's going to have, you know, the outer one going to have the light that reflected a little bit. And then, so the light is not coming from behind. The light is coming kind of in a little bit everywhere, but on the side. But you get it more from behind because the moonlight reflected more, but then the light's everywhere. So not just like shooting from behind you. So it's a little bit, not the backlit, but it's everywhere, but it's just a little less. So you can see a little bit more form in the front. But and on the red light also, it's basically coming from the side on the fire. So now I'm turning, see, when you have a layer, you can like have the advantage of like looking at the chain, like turn some of the layer off, and you're like, okay, I can paint on that chain. And you can see it better. And then on the chain inside also, I'm just gonna, you know, lighten some part of it. Sometimes get really too light. I didn't really want that, so I make it a little bit lighter, but you don't see that much. Trying to get the right amount. Okay, that should be good enough. It doesn't get too overwhelming or too light, so I'm gonna leave it like that for the chain in the middle. Now I'm gonna add some form to the other arm. Turn lineage dodge off because it's making it way too light. So there's the other arm. It's coming front and grabbing the other side of the chain. And then it's going to have a little bit stronger light on the edge of it, like the edge of the fist. And some kind of design, a little, something wrapping around. Maybe plate mail on the gauntlet or something like that, so it has the edge that catches the light. And it's always good to know which direction the body part will go, so you can use a contour line to help. Like in here on the gauntlet, if you see the contour line that I put on the side for the gauntlet or for the forearm, you see that it's kind of help moving the forearm forward, so it looks like it's coming toward us a little. And so the contour line is also important. Use everything you can to kind of enhance all your illustration or whatever it might be. Contour lines really help a lot. And on the shape, how the cloth is folding, or how the leather strap is strapping on you, or how the shoulder is going. So it's dictate the direction where the form is going and where. So it's really helpful with those lighting. So now I'm beginning to add the light from the fire, or the warm light. So now on the side, so now as soon as I add that, you can see the form come out a little more. Now it become a little more dramatic. But the amount you put, don't put 50-50 on highlight. You have to have one dominant. So in this one, it has less of the red stuff or the warm light on it, but the warm light are strong. But it has a little bit more blue light in overall, but there are not a lot of highlights. So that's a big difference. So you can have like the less of this underlighting that I'm giving, but they're all like really, they are stronger than those blue light that I give, even though I give the blue light everywhere. But on this red light, I just give it on the edge and some part of the body, so I don't glaze over, I don't push too far on the red, because the how do you say, if I say dominant light, the dominant light is blue, but it's subtle. But secondary light is red, but it's a lot more, how do you say it? It's a lot more bold. So, and that's going to be the contrast. Now I'm starting to add a little more red in there. So now you get a little bit more form. And if you have too much, then, you know, it's going to compete. So you're going to have to try to balance it out and not giving it too much. Because on inside the body, I'm not going to give any much red, except the part that protruding out. Like the part, if there's some part of you, like the nose protruding out, the arms coming out, then that's going to catch the light on the side. But if nothing protruding out, or there's no change of plane happening, then that's not going to get the right part of red. And I'm going to add some of the red to the chain. So those are under lighting. There you go. So now you can see the chain come out, giving a little bit more form. There. And then on the side of the palm, or the side of the side of palm, and some of the fingers. So now I can see a little bit more light. Alright, so yeah, now the form becoming a little bit more real. And again, if I'll see all the time that under the comment ask me, why don't I zoom in? I just explained. I'm just going to explain it again. If you zoom in, you get tunnel vision, and you pay attention on the thing that is not really important. When you zoom out, you see the whole, when you like see the whole image, and at your, it depends on how you sit. If you sit it kind of on a good distance, like about 1.5 feet or 2 feet like I am, then that size is perfect for the whole screen. But if you fit like really close, then that doesn't help either. So you have to be able to see the whole thing and how this whole form react. Because if you don't get the form first, then you all of a sudden zoom in and try and get the detail right off the bat, then that just kind of not, you defeat the purpose of trying to do the illustration. It's more like you're painting a texture, or like trying to get, you know, a little texture in there, which is, you know, texture or detail without form would not do your illustration good. You got to get the form and the lighting correct first. And once you get the lighting down, like at the end of this video, I get pretty much all the lighting down. Then I can zoom in, and using those existing value that's already there because they're correct and they give it the right form, then I can use that to enhance the detail that I want to give it. So now I'm giving a little bit more light to the ball. And like I said, if you just look at the ball, the red is more intense, but it's in less area. So that's why I say the blue is dominating, even though you don't see the intent of the blue, because of the overall image is like a lot of blue in the image. It's just a little bit of red. So that's why it's kind of balanced out. Well, if I do both and both equally in 50-50, that's this illustration is probably gonna fail. So this is about like 70-30. Then a little bit more, I erase some of the highlight out. The blue light, to keep it the dark, because like if the light's going in too much, then this might be a little bit overwhelming. So there, I almost have it. Then let's see. Then I'm trying to reshape the face a little bit more. Give him some frown, and I'm gonna add his mandible later. So I'm just tweaking the shape of the head and nostril, and shorten it a little bit because it's a little bit too long on the teeth. Then I'm gonna add his mandible. Not yet. It's coming. Add some more spike on that side and a little bit of red light on those spike. So the other spike of red. There we go. It's more intense, but it's make it pop. Then a little bit more light on that side. Then I'm gonna add his lower jaw, his mandible right there. And on the other side, I'm gonna have the blue light. So there we go. We're almost there. Here's a skiller. I don't know. He look. Now that he kind of remind me of that dude from the comic book. What is that? Riding the motorcycle. And I'm trying to add his give the light onto his eye, but I think it's unnecessary, so I get rid of it. If I'm gonna add a light, it should have been a different light. Then I was like, there's only 2 color scheme in here. I could expand the color scheme a little bit more. Then I'm trying to give the glass eye, but then I was like, that make it look kind of stupid. So I'm not gonna. So I get rid of it again. So it's sometimes you're wasting a little bit of time experimenting with stuff, and it doesn't work. You're just like, no, get rid of it, and then go back and when you are painting, you have to be able to tell which, most of the time, you're not going to be 100% accurate the whole time. Like if this design will fit, or if this design will be able to make it look good. Sometimes everybody make a mistake of like putting something bad in there, but you have to be able to tell and make judgment call, and always go browse through, look at some good stuff on a good art website. Like you can do, on my Facebook, I have a bunch of good artists that I know that I follow, so I can go through that. So always check your favorite artists. Always trying to find good stuff, especially people that have the style that you really like, or studied old master. That's also good. And always do research and make it your daily stuff to look at a lot of good illustration. So alright, so I just come this far, add more light. There we go. A little bit more contour line on that wrist. So I just realized that I skipped a step. I forgot to record it in between, which is the green layer. So basically I just use normal layer, and then I'll pick the green here, and I'll use the same brush that I used for those, about maybe 50%, and I have some sort of lineage dodge on it, so I kind of add those in. Oops, 30% possibly, and then stronger on here, and then resize the brush a little, then add some particle here, and then have it dodge basically. And then I use dodge to kind of bring out some of these out here. So that's basically it, but then you gotta kind of make it shape so that it fit. Alright, so that's one I have, so it's kind of toned down a little bit, so you can tone it down a little bit, so you have a little bit, so it's not like too right in your face. Alright, so and then let's move on to the next step. So from this point on, this one turned out to be what I like. Then I'm just gonna merge it down, and let's see, I'm gonna try to play with the face a little bit and change to be a character design. Put some hair on, maybe, perhaps. Oops, I have lineage dodge on, no wonder. Then I'm gonna have like the figure turn the face this way. A little darker here. Like at this point, I only care about shape and form. Just gonna lift that up, pick some light source. Actually, I need to get the form down first, like the base form of the face. I think it will turn out alright. Gonna move it a little. Maybe up. Then I'm gonna have the area for the neck. Just gonna have the plain hair for now. Now probably gonna add some fancy style later, but now just kind of plain. Go a little bit darker on this side. Now I'm going to add some wanted to kind of poke in the face out a little. Still not getting what I really want yet. Close. Erase. And I'm gonna start adding feature eye socket. Borrow a little bit of the dark value. Then eye socket there. Then the other side. Then a little bit on the nose. Lips. We're probably gonna have to put the head up a little. Probably gonna have to make the body skinnier. But now I kind of got that head set up. I'm gonna make another layer underneath it. Add more skin area. Just gonna get rid of those chains. Gonna be gone for now, so you can see more skin. Right, I think I'm gonna I'm gonna make a copy of these two, and then on the disk group that I have earlier, I can make a selection of all these tools, silhouette, and I can just cut the character out. Boom. Oops. And then I'm gonna make another copy of that layer, because even though when I turn that off, the body's still there. I am just gonna merge this all down, just the background. Boom. And then I'm gonna move that up, and the backgrounds probably change a lot because the contrast wasn't there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut the character out of the background. Oops, I mean wrong. Actually, I have to invert it and cut the character up. Oh, yeah, cut the character up. So now we have just, am I on the wrong layer? Yeah, I'm on the wrong layer. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna select the character actually, and this one's supposed to be up there because that one is without the character, right? So I'm just gonna invert it and just cut the rest of them out, so you have this empty plane without the character. See what I mean? Because the character is in there, so I'm just gonna cut that so it has that empty spot, and still have like a little bit of highlight around it, but I guess that's okay. So now I'm gonna merge that down. So now you have the one without the character. So now I can change the silhouette. Just in case I screwed up, I'm gonna save it as a separate file. I usually do that, even though I don't screw it up most of the time. But to save it as two different, it's kind of a safety net, because sometimes you might, you know, if you shrink the file size to send to your client, then you have something to kind of go off on, like you have the backup. So it's kind of nice. So I'm going to change this part, turn this back on too, and erase some of these in. Oops. Just gonna have some cloth hanging out here. Erase some of that. Then and maybe I'm gonna add some more skin over here. You wonder why her skin is getting blue, because of all the lighting that came from the blue light, and then it's gonna also get a little more red. Erase some of these. some light on her boots. There. Then I could add some skin over on this side. Maybe the knee is a little longer, why not? A little bit of light on the back. Right, guess. I'll line her face up a little. And maybe some skin on the glove. Look like the letters kind of, you know, strap, you know. Smooth this part out a little. Maybe I should add like some little strap, put it front to kind of help with the contour. And just strap over here. All right. Put a bit more highlight on this spot. Oops. Right, so now I'm going to add back the lighting, starting from the top. So a bit orange there. Maybe another layer just in case. Then tone down the opacity to 50, kind of work my way in there. Probably some hair. Use some hair, get some light over here also. Just to get the light first, and I'll probably get the hair in a little later. A little bit on, zoom in a little bit. I'm going to up res to, let's say, I don't know, going to up res to 3 times side, 38, 40. Then now I can work on a bit more detail. So go linear stars now. Do the lips. We get a little bit there. Slightly over, and then on his chin a little. We add more spike. Yeah, so I'm just gonna show you how to set up the light in this one, but to get to the point of finished illustration, you're gonna have to probably do that on your own. But once you get the lighting, everything should be easier, because that's probably the hardest part. This probably get very faint. Right, so got a little bit of that. And probably some hair, kind of random. Again, I bet you in all my videos you hear sirens a lot. Sorry about that. Can't really control these drivers. And a little bit of light here. Light on the arm. A little bit here. So we got those red handle, maybe a little bit of let's see. Oh, those area on the legs. There you go. And on the chain you could make it a bit more, but I don't want it to compete with the top. Make another line here. Right, so here's those highlight. Then I'm gonna go back to the head, way back here. Add some hair back in there. Maybe lighten this up a little bit. Turn that off, I forgot. be pretty dark inside there. You could have a little bit of light there, I think. You have to come in and just a little. Then you can have this on top of those armor. Just kind of round up a little. Add a bit of highlight. Maybe some line to help. Lighter there. Okay, then this side I'm gonna make it feather. Get rid of all those, make it feather collar. Go back here and erase some of these. And feather color here. I should have some feather over here also, I think. But I didn't want it to compete with the hairline, so just gonna have a little bit less. This is the one that are too tall. Okay, so increase the breast side on this side a little. Okay. Right, so now I'm going to try to make some movement on the hair, since she's turning, so there'll probably be some like movement. Let me zoom out. It's not what I'm looking for. Okay, be 70%. tip of this color. Flow. Right, then I'm gonna erase some of these. Go up top, add a little bit. Right, and now I'm gonna add some light to this feather, but it has to be behind the hair. So I'm gonna make another layer again. That's a lot of layer. So it's gonna be a little bit of blue, desaturated. A little bit light here. A little bit of light on the cloth. Texture brush. Probably. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of highlight. You should have some on the chain also, right there. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna call it done here. Maybe I should add some extra, some little bit of color. Some really dark, like some red in there, really fainted. Some red cloth here, like on the edge. Bring it out a little. And what else could I add? A little bit of yellow. Stitch maybe. Oops. Some sort of like stitch line. All right, maybe here a little. just to distinguish a different material. I forgot the fingers over here. And what else? Okay, I'm gonna add some green glowing eyes maybe. Oh, I gotta add some more red over here first. Start poly 50%. Just a little tiny bit. Then I'm gonna give her some green eyes so that it's kind of stand out. Gonna make another layer. Just kind of glowing green eyes. Give it some glowing, and probably gonna have bounce light on the side a little. And that's pretty much it, I guess. Let's do where the hair. Here's the hair. A little. Some probably come over. And some, oh, got some light on the neck. Just a little, too much. You probably wouldn't see the light there because the hair is blocking it. Oh, but on this feather, yes. And that's pretty much it. I could add a little highlight there for the novelty. Normal. I think this is pretty much it. Alright, well, yeah, so maybe add the elf ear, I don't know. Probably not. Maybe. Should I? No, I'm just gonna leave it. Yeah, that's okay. Maybe add some dark line over here. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna stop here. So anyways, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial and then learned something. It's a 2 light source character. Alright, well, have a great day. Bye bye. Okay, I think I'm gonna do a little bit more things over here. I'm going to get the oops, wrong. Going to use level to kind of see what I could do with this a little bit more. I'm going to jacked up the highlight a bit. And not sure if it's okay. Let's see the different. Not sure if I like that. Maybe tone that down a bit. Okay, then I'm going to use another layer. So from this point on, I'm going to do color balance. Red. Then highlight would be red, yellow, green maybe. Shadow will be cyan. Blue. It's getting kind of way too dark to my taste. I'm gonna tone that down a lot. So it's not so good. Anyways, yeah, and after this I usually merge the whole thing and duplicate it and then merge the whole thing together. Make another folder, put it there. And at this point you can go in and work on a little bit more, depends on whatever you want to work on. Like add more details, but be careful not to alter the values too much. Then I'm going to use sharpen and sharpen mask, so let's kind of bring her out a little bit more. And then on the second layer I'll use filter, blur, shape blur. Then it's kind of blur it out, right? And then I'm just going to erase some of it on the top, 70% first. I'll let this be to go. I want it to kind of be further away, and about a little bit on this fog here to make it have like level of depth. And I'm going to tone it down to 50% opacity and turn down some of this to make some of them look like it's some of them in the front and some of them in the back, kind of 50%. Tone that down, erasing up, try to avoid the chain because the chain is like up in the front, and maybe this a little, and that a little bit here, there, trying to push it back.